We're talking about what is theater. Let me ask you guys what your experience of theater is, a little bit. Like some of you have been to the theaters. How many people have participated in the theater, one way or the other? Quite a few. Excellent. Give me, for instance, give me what it is that you've done.
Oh, in high school I was in the play.
You were in the play, you
Yeah.
performed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What play?
Up the down staircase.
What was it?
Up the down staircase.
Okay, so sort of a murder mystery kind of spoofish kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many people have performed in a play at this point? How many people have worked on a play, not performed? Okay. Give me an example of your work with the theater.
I performed in high school.
Okay.
Dracula, I was Lucy Seward.
Uh-huh.
Christmas Carol, I was a prostitute. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Nice.
Twelfth Night and Grease and Medea. We did a local theater competition, and I got in
The classics.
Yeah.
You're really the classic actress, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, all right, great. How about somebody who's done some work in the theater other than acting? Okay, go ahead. What's your name?
Kenya.
Kenya? There's a country name after you, are you aware of it?
Backstage crew, like painting the sets. And,
Okay,
Yeah.
so scene painting, did you design or you just painted?
I just painted.
Uh-huh.
There was people design.
Right, I did that as well. It's good working in the shops and somebody else that you had your hand up?
We'll dance.
Huh?
Dance.
Okay, dance, so that would be performing too, right? Other crew stuff?
I've helped with like sound recording.
Oh, that's very good. Very interesting stuff. Huh? So there are a lot of different jobs in the theater besides acting. Lots of times we focus on the acting. It's obviously something that people pay a lot of attention to. But really, when you create a play, you're kind of creating a world, and there's almost as many people participating in it as there is in creating a house, right? You've got carpenters, electricians, sometimes plumbers, and then the people that are taking care of the building itself that the production is housed in. When you get into that, we call it a house, so it is very much requires all of the people that it would require to put a house together, a home together. Okay? But let's talk about like the experience of theater. Now, those of you that have been in the theater to just see a production, but you haven't participated. Let's see, people that have been to the theater but have not ever participated in the theater. Okay. And what did you say?
The most recent play I actually saw was the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
All right,
I don't know if
musical.
You know about that?
Right.
But yeah.
And where did you see it?
It was in Boston, but I don't remember why I went to see
It was a
it.
professional production.
I'm not sure. It was like last year, so I honestly.
Was it lavish? Was it expensive?
It was kind of like-
downtown Boston?
It was like a small building. I remember that much. Like you could literally like.
Were you wasted when you went to the show?
No. No.
You have a hard time remembering. What's your name?
Robert.
Robert, do you have large chunks of your life that you don't remember any of?
I
No?
remember most
It's
of my
okay,
life.
you can tell us.
It was just like. It was you literally like walk on the stage to like get out. It was kind of a small building.
Cool, so it was maybe a semi-professional, smaller theater company, maybe community theater. How many people have seen a professional theater production who have not acted, they just attended? Okay, what's your name?
Jackie?
Jackie? And what did you see?
I've seen Rent, Wicked, and West Side Story.
Right. And where were these?
I saw Wicked in New York and the other two in Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's focus on the production in New York. Did you see it on Broadway?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you go to that as opposed to do something else in New York? Because there's so many things to do in New York, right? Did you stay over when you went down to New York? Did you go there and that was the centerpiece of your going there? Why do you think you did that?
Because I love musicals.
Uh-huh.
And I
And you don't feel like you would get the same experience of watching a musical on a movie?
No.
Really?
Right.
Okay. How many people feel like there's something about being in the presence of other people watching something, whether it is a musical or comedy or something, that is appreciably different than just seeing something on their own? Okay? It's not necessarily something, if you don't have your hand up, it's not like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. it definitely is something that if you've experienced it, it can be profound. I mean, I can give you an example, and this is totally going to sound like the biggest like graying hippie thing to say in the world, but the first time I saw the Grateful Dead perform live, I could tell you that that was an experience that was like nothing I had ever experienced. Because of the scale of it, for one thing. I mean, there were 100,000 people in the parking lot. Not everybody got into the show, but there was sort of a whole sort of gypsy encampment that surrounded the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan being there. And then the sort of experience itself, became sort of a part of this kind of village community kind of experience. Maybe something more on the lines of like, I don't know if you've ever heard of an event called Burning Man, or a Lollapalooza, or a rave, or something that is very sort of experiential, okay? That's almost ritualistic, all right? How many people have been a part of a huge church service of some kind? And something that would be a very large church service, like went to Mass in a big cathedral, or something like that. What are you thinking about in terms of your experience?
I was in Ireland. We
Oh.
went to the cathedral at Knock
Uh-huh.
for the St. Patrick's Day Mass.
Okay. St. Patrick's Day Mass in Dublin?
No, it's in Knock.
In Knock. Okay, I'm sorry. And so that was an experience that was different. It was big, huge, right? I mean, there's a power to being with other people, experiencing something at the same time. Comedy is, oddly enough, one thing that does not translate nearly as well outside of the live experience. Music, obviously we experience a lot of music, I'm listening to my, bless you, my iPod all the time or whatever, but is that the same as going to a concert? How many people have seen live music? Give me, what's your name?
Wasim.
Wasim?
Yeah.
And what was the last concert you saw? That's all right. When was it?
Like December or something.
Okay. And why was that different than just listening to the album?
It was like a whole bunch of different artists.
It was a bunch of different artists, and you might not hear that same music ever played, and that's something with the Dead too. You never knew what they were going to play. They might play something. They play things very differently. What about just the experience of being with the people? Was that sort of its own thing?
So it's not the same.
As being on your own?
Yeah, like you're just walking around listening to music on your iPhone. And then,
Is it exciting or?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. When you're seeing comedy, you have a tendency to laughter has a tendency to be infectious. Okay? So you take that music experience, which is very different, you take comedy, you put that together, and you've got spelling bee, right? You've got musical comedy. And that's one of the reasons that musical comedy is so successful in the theater. Pretty much 80% of all commercial theater is musicals, and most musicals are musical comedies. Okay? I would say a larger percentage. I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but now we have a lot of musicals that are, they're funny, they're not necessarily, I mean, Rent's sort of like that. Funny, serious at the same time kind of thing. So, that experience is very particular. The theater itself has a lot of ritualistic elements to it. Okay? There are things that you expect when you come into the theater. All right? You expect that if the lights go down, the show starts. Right? If the lights went down and the lights went off and then all of a sudden the lights came back in the audience, you would think something was wrong. Right? Why would you think that? It's something we call theatrical convention. Okay? A theatrical convention is a sort of established ritual experience that you, as an audience member, have with the people that are creating the theater experience for you. Okay? Things have happened this way traditionally. You expect things to continue to happen that way. Okay? It's the same as if you were in a church. Okay? You don't go up to get communion, and as the priest holds out the wafer, and as you lean forward, he smacks you on the face and then hands it to you. He might need to, depending on what your sin level was coming into that, just to give you a reminder, okay? I remember, we take communion at Christmas in Methodist Church, and I remember the pastor saying, I'll lean forward to get my wafer, and he was like, whoa, like that, because I'd been drinking so much before I came in, you know? So he was like, whoa, and then he gave it to me just to let me know that he knew that we had partied before we came to midnight mass, right? So, you know, but generally speaking, that's not a part of the experience, okay?